Okay, it's been a little while since I've done a video. Sorry, the traffic outside is crazy. I'm going to show you, this is the garbage bin. The bin that I only put fast food bags in, toilet paper rolls, used paper towels. Sometimes people just wipe their hands on them. I don't like those to go to waste. They either go to my compost, but now they're kind of going into my worms. Pizza boxes. This is a pizza box from Pizza Hut. This is a bag from Arby's. And I don't know why, but there is something in here. I don't know if you can see him. Let me get a better light in here. There's something in this bag that these worms are just going crazy over. They're eating, I don't know if you can see that, they're eating through the bottom, and they're actually inside too. And all those brown flecks, that's worm poop. That's what I'm after, but they leave their evidence behind. This was a bag from an Indian store in Omaha. Threw that in there. This is not super wet. I am going to wet this down a little bit. I also, speaking of wet, I wanted to cover that for a minute because I keep hearing everybody go, oh, you don't want to get your bins too wet. You don't want to get your bins too wet. You don't want to get your bins too wet. I've been running them on the dry side. Well, I accidentally, my hose was sitting in, kind of like this one, was sitting in the bin. I didn't realize it was still on. It was leaking in there. I didn't know for how long. And I'll show you. Let me pull this over. And it does smell a little bit. It's not horrible to me. But this is what happens when the bins are really wet. They're really, really happy. I don't stir mine around like I see a lot of people do a lot anymore. I was, because they were saying, oh, you gotta aerate, you gotta aerate. I feel like that disturbs these little tiny worms, and I don't want to do that. I want my worms to be happy. I don't know if you can see how wet this is, but this is so wet that I was a little worried about. Let's look over here. There's actually standing water. I was a little worried about mosquitoes. Avocado seed, they're munching on that. I really was worried about the mosquitoes making a life in here. This is getting so full of worms. It's so wet. It's getting so full of worms that I am thinking that I'm going to have to divide these guys up, because I'm not even kidding. Look at over here. I said I try not to disturb them. If they're happy, why would I disturb them? They're down there. They're everywhere. It's super wet. Super wet. All these are worms, and they're just loving this wet environment. So I'm not sure who started the rumor that they have to have it dry. They don't like it wet. But I think that they're wrong. Mine really, really love the wet. So I have been keeping them fairly wet since then. Okay, so somebody might be like, oh, that's just that bin. Well, after the first bin got wet, I made sure the second bin. This bin, I had worms in. Couldn't keep it wet enough because there was a split in the bottom of the bucket. So I took them out and I threw them in here. Yep, this is an old shirt that was stained. And it's wet. And this actually does have some coco coir, because everybody said, oh, you gotta have coco coir in there. No, you don't. My trash bin is proven you don't have to have coco coir. Like I said, I don't disturb them a lot. This one is the one I just put the babies in. This one's kind of stinky. They're in here. I know. I'm just trying to find them. They're everywhere in here, and they love it wet. Not as many as the other one, but I just started wetting these down more because they just seem to like the wet. All right, so then here's the last one. Now it's really warm out. I'm thinking they must like that too. Pizza box, Krispy Kreme box. How much do worms like Krispy Kreme? Yeah, not as much as they like their pizza. But look at that. This is a Casey's or a Pizza Hut. Look at them. They are loving this wet environment. This is newspaper. Look at what's underneath them. More. And I could keep going. And there's just layers and layers of worms. Wet worms. So, like I said, I try not to disturb them too much because I know that I get babies on my hands. And then I take the glove off and then they die. I get eggs, the little cocoons. I get those on my hands. I don't want those on my hands. So, this is my other one. They're loving this. They're loving how wet it is. So I'm just going to keep up with the wet. So there's a little update. Today is the 19th of August. And we're going to figure out what I'm going to do with these over the winter. Because they are in my garage now. That's probably not going to be warm enough for them coming this fall. But we'll see. So I'm going to feed them a little bit. And I think I'm going to feed this bin. I do have some food in there. I gave them some hydrangeas. I did put some coco coir in there that I had left over. I'm not going to buy any more coco coir. It's not super expensive, but why not? Now, this is the other thing that's really a lot of people talk about. What am I feeding them? This is sour cream. Everybody says sour cream's a no-no. No milk products, no dairy products, no blah, 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 blah. Well, since they have been wrong about everything else, I am adding that to that. I'm going to cover up part of this bin so they can stay in the dark if they want to stay in the dark, or they can come over here and eat. So I'm really curious about how much they like the dairy. Here's a couple tortilla shells. I might throw a couple of these in a different bin. Let them feed up on those. And we will see. It'll be interesting. They do love the fruits and vegetables. I do have another one over here. Let's take this over here. I have one more over here. This one has quite a bit of a hole in the bottom of the bin. So this one gets dry really quickly compared to the totes. They're still fairly happy. I did put in some corn, and they love that corn stalk. This was originally bunny bedding. My daughter has a rabbit. My granddaughter has a rabbit. It's their bedding. They're not that crazy about the bedding that I thought that they would be. And I think part of that is because it runs so dry. And these want to be wet. So I am going to eventually move these over into what I'm going to start calling as a wet bin. I try to wet these down every day. But with the hole, I get great worm tea. There is lots of worm tea down there. I will dilute that. So I will do that. And then I will, convert them over into a tote that doesn't have a hole in it. Or I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I've also heard no bones, no bones, no bones. Guess what? My worms are going to get burnt. Bones. This is just leftovers. Stuff that we scraped out of our plates and such. Carrots. There's a bone. The foil I'll take out later. There's food on it, and I accidentally put foil in it one time, and they were all over the foil, so I'm like, well, if they want to scrape the foil off, that's fine too. So I'm going to cover that back up. I'm going to wet that. See how dry that is right there? Yep, another old shirt. So I feel like they're almost to the point of too dry, and they're going to be wanting to climb out because they really like it wet. And the next time I'm going to switch them over and see if that makes them happier. And like I said, I'm really worried about the winter. Not quite sure what I'm going to do, but all right. There's an update. Thanks.